We are going to be doing a story. It is a roleplay story. Story starts now. Also, if you're wondering about some who is this character and what does it mean by backstory, it'll all be explained in the story. Roleplay. Hello. This is me. The town wasn't exactly what you'd call normal. There was a lot of stuff that you could say gave me extra. My dad was strange. So was my brother. This is my brother.
Neil.
No thanks.
I just want to give you something.
I already have one.
Okay.
This is my city.
I have 2 gifts for you.
Okay, Dippy, I don't want it. Everything was strange or pointless.
You're welcome.
Sometimes statues that were pointless.
I make different things on statues. Now look at them. Just follow me. And don't go down there with lava.
My brother was quite the strange uncle.
Look, there's lava.
I know.
Watch out!
He made everything a little difficult.
Over here in the cannons of fire.
Okay.
And then here is lava. Why?
Yeah. My brother might have been a little lava obsessed, but that's alright. This is the story of how I set off on my adventure to become the best and first adventurer in the world. There was a small enclosed area. Portals were the doors, so you never really could get through. This is how I figured out I had powers. Let's have me stop narrating and actually have the story begin.
I can't die in the lava. I can never die in the lava.
I want to go in the water, but I can hear the monsters. I'll just skip across.
Hello, I'm Noodle. Look, that's what I made. That is what I made. That's what I made. Coco, no. I have some for you. I have 3 of them.
Give me one, please.
I'll do it right now.
And this is where the small adventure began. Of course, it wasn't a small adventure. The coral seems to have kind of been taking over the track. They asked me to explore this and set the whatever you call that. They said something like
a war castle.
Shipwreck.
I know. But where are you?
Actually, let's not take anything out of the shipwreck. They're still exploring stuff.
Well, I wanted to explore.
You can explore stuff. Only take map.
Why?
Because we don't want to mess with their treasure. Besides, there are some...
Maps are treasures.
I know. There are some artifacts that we need to get. The other archaeologists and explorers will find something else. Let's climb up these. Yeah. You could say as being a child.
There is lava.
How did you get buckets full of lava? Wait, hold up. Pause this. I can't do that, Tabian.
You just need to do this.
What? That is definitely a new update.
That's how you need to do it.
But I'm still waking up.
See? It's easy. Easy peasy.
You're dripping like a...
You're doing it.
You're dripping like a saturated sunrise. Sunrise. Go in the middle. It's actually really hard to fall into these. Okay, back to the roleplay. Ugh, there's so many buckets of lava. Oh.
The easier way to get
This is the hopper station.
There's the other way to not touch the lava. It's by flying over the lava. And that's how you not touch the lava. Right?
You're like a saturated sunrise. The mechanics of the world never came easily to me. Don't touch any of this stuff, please. You could say I was good at redstone, but
Redstone. Yeah.
I was never that. It never came to me quite easily. Sometimes I would be able to understand.
I have redstone for myself. But wait for me. What's in the tag? Look.
Don't take stuff.
Do you like it?
Yeah, sure.
What's in the tag?
Sure.
I like it.
There was... Sure.
Okay.
There were some things that were confusing. Some that were unnecessary. Some things that were just straight off complicated. But I took my time in studies. I spent time, my free time. I spent my free time studying. No thanks. We don't have time. Tabian, I have to study. Then you don't. But don't stop. Just stop it annoying me. Lava. Ah.
That's what I do.
This is how my story as an adventurer began. Help!
I'm coming.
There's lava all around.
I'll come. I'm coming.
As I dove deep into the water, curious, noticed there was a huge divot pathway that went further. I went through. I told him it'd be safer, that the outside world could be dangerous. And on my journey I went. The first thing I did was set up a camp. And I had enough paper to make maps, so I kept plenty of empty map papers on me. My first map was almost completely finished the second I started. I set up a camp and began. I had a map of the area, so all my empty maps were kept out. There was a huge cave drop. I avoided it. I didn't want to fall. There was another cave that looked like there was some construction keeping the cave up. Some stones look unsafe, so I didn't mess with them. I saw a small village in the distance by a statue of a horse, and there were boats. I didn't make them, and the camp looked like it had already been used. So I went on, traveling, and I stopped abruptly. But then, I stopped abruptly, but it was too late. I'd fallen down a waterfall into a pit. But, lucky for me, there was a staircase leading out, and maybe somewhere else. Bad part about it is it didn't get me to the village. It got me to another boat area. But I kept a boat on me, just in case, and went into a cave that had also led me to, that I had not noticed from before. I realized that I was running low on food and needed to cook it. I quickly came up. There was a small miner's camp, filled with torches and ores, and coal as well. I thought I could use it. And so I started mining. I figured that I'd need the ores and the money. And I was correct. That wasn't a lot of mining and I'm already tired. I'm gonna get some of this food that I just cooked. Is it night? I think it's night. hope that food will be done when I go to sleep. Food's almost done. And done. Now let's get started. I will have to look a little past this cave. More ores. I will need this coal. I had 45 coal. I felt like a champion. I knew that I would need the coal to smelt. I didn't know how much I would need to smelt. And I didn't know that around this time I would find out about my powers. There was a small little pool of water by a small airy creek. I was near the conduit thingy. I splashed around in the water, kept me nice, cool. The little money that I had, it quickly upgraded. I knew that it wasn't a lot of money, but I knew it was also enough money. I began to climb. And I slipped. Fell. I tried climbing back up again. This time, I tried climbing higher. The dirt gave away, and suddenly I was flying. I didn't realize it, but I was flying. I had my eyes closed. And since my eyes were closed, I couldn't see anything. Suddenly, I opened my eyes, shocked by the fact that I didn't feel any pain. There I was, flying. Tried moving to see if maybe there were blocks. I tried going down. I was a little startled, but I made it down. Tried going up. I was a little startled, but I was able to go up. So I tried controlling my power, enough just to get the coal that I was climbing for, and some of the rocks around it, because you never know when you're going to need a few rocks. And then I tried to stop falling, and it worked. I was back running on my feet. I had noticed that there was this small house on a cliffside past the cave, and so I went towards it. What am I on? It's a statue. Of what? Whoa! I caught myself. A witch? Is this a witch cottage? I think I'm in a witch cottage.
Not back at the castle.
Whoa.
I'm not at the castle. I am at a building.
Okay.
But not at the castle.
Okay.
But the building.
Okay. Wow, this is a great place. There's a fishing rod, there's food. I could actually live here. Have a place. But what about my brother? And the maps? I should start a new map over here. Map 2, map 3. What about map 1? Let's explore more. What's this? Looks like another small house. It's a drum. I slammed the doors. Oh, more food. It may have been, some of the food may have been raw, but I still needed the food.
Look, cake.
There is cake. I'm not hungry though. Ooh. There's still more? A tower. Where am I? Whoa. I'm just gonna use my powers to climb the tower. I'm not going to take it. I'm not going to be greedy.
I am going to put myself on almost by myself.
Hey, Tabian. I see you.
I'm right here.
Yeah, Tabian, I told you not to go adventuring. Alright, 3. And this is 2. I can't stay here for long. I'm sorry, brother. And you can't join me in my travels. I'm sorry, brother. I'm going to head back to the small cottage. I headed back to the small cottage.
And I am staying at the village.
Alright, stay at the village. poofing, poofing, poofing. I had a lantern and plenty of torches for a while. I kept them nearby. I was going to run through the cake before I ate anything else. That was more of a restaurant area, so I head down to the closest one with a bed. And I slept. I figured I would need a place to stay. And I did not know that I would need one. I knew my brother wanted to join the military to serve our country, our world, our land. Our country went on for miles and miles, and some people were trying to take it. I hated the thought of our country dying. I hated the thought of our country dying. This bed. Great. I guess I'll have to break through the dirt. That's a pointless statue. Still pretty cool. Whoa, my power. Whoa, it's wavering. Water. Good thing it's there. Lately, the river seems so crowded. I shouldn't be breathing. I need to take a nap. Everyone needs that dragon god. Serving my world. Temple that I knew most would stay prayed. Cake. Grab it. Food. When I heard the news of the Underdragon, I was astonished, and I thought my brother might have been sad. But knowing that he was the one just made me concerned. I set food to cook. What's two things I could get rid of? About that, and then I will move this up there. I needed plenty of food for my journeys, and plenty of space for my map. I started a new map.
Yeah, I jacked an egg. Yeah. What? Why did that happen?
And
Okay.
so I set to travel further.
That was
I knew that out where other places were, I was planning on traveling towards the mushroom area into a forest, but I stopped by the desert cave just in case. I realized I had the power to go invisible, but I had to be sneaky about it. I set up a light. And using my flying, I was able to get down safely. I knew that I was going to have to cover this up. I made sure that there was no way anyone could get trapped. Using my powers, I was able to sneak through, make sure there were no traps. Knowing that the world was just a little safer because of me was reassuring. Now I set off into the feral woods and was quickly stopped by a statue. It was a zombie statue. I assumed, considering the sand, that it was a husk. And because we were around a desert, I wasn't surprised.
it was a forest.
I went into the forest, and it didn't go long. Using my flying powers, I quickly went and was stopped by a creepy thing. I couldn't figure out what it was, but I kept trying. Then I realized it was a shulker. I don't know why they made a shulker statue there. I was also quite shocked. I flew to the top and looked.
The top thing.
Oh,
If you bite the top thing, a laser will pop up. Bye-bye.
then I realized I should have been marking where I'd been. I broke the top of every tower that I had been around. I haven't been over here. I planned to set further, but I decided to come back to the village. Maybe that's because the water drew me. Something about the water makes me want to And so swam I did. I knew someone would say I'm wasting my energy, and that it's cold and I should get out. But I didn't until most of the water was freezing, that there was ice covering it. There was a statue dripping with ice, and it looks like a stray, so I went with Stray. I went exploring the area, jumping through melted ice and icy areas, climbing up slippery slopes, sliding. Ugh. Brr. Ow. Ugh.
There's a plate that I made that will keep you warm.
Okay.
Look,
What is this?
that's what I made. I made an igloo.
Wow. It's freezing. Ugh. Food. I know this is someone's food stock, but it doesn't look like anyone lives here. And if they could, they've obviously abandoned it for a village.
I did it. It's my plate.
So I went off.
My plate.
I knew I had plenty of watermelon by the time I was
That's
finished.
my plate.
I know.
Grandma,
Yeah. I knew there was plenty of watermelon.
and if you wait that, and if you wait those pumpkins, I'll get super angry if I get to my house. And if I look at my pumpkins, I'll see that it's no pumpkins.
I quickly noticed there was a small hut nearby,
Ah.
but you don't know who broke them. So I quickly went up into the hut. I knew stealing was wrong, but I needed to.
I see you. Stop! I don't like it.
Then maybe you should be nice.
I didn't like when you broke my pumpkin.
Well, I didn't break your pumpkins.
Well, they used to have watermelons then, and I'm making them back.
Okay. I had a lot of food now, and I knew I didn't need to steal any more food. But I knew that one day I was gonna run low, and that day could come far further in the future, or could come the second I stopped stealing food. And so, kept stealing. And I knew that some people would be able to get their food back. And I knew that if I just